Greetings, and welcome to Babble-On with Vampa. I'm your hostess, Vampa. On this new series, I've summoned all sorts of creative guests to my lair to talk about their crafts. And with me, as always, is Dead McMahon. How you doing, Dead?
I just went through my third divorce.
Ooh, sounds rough. How'd it go?
She left me bone dry.
Aw, that's too bad. But don't lose your head. Anyway, my first guest I actually found creeping around the crypt with a few other fiends, and we hit it off over our mutual love of the macabre, and he helped me with my movie Murder Pool. His own films include The Red Dream and the upcoming Boxes. I'd like to introduce filmmaker David Villio. Hi, David. Thank you so much for joining us today on my series premiere of Babble-On with Vampa.
How exciting.
Yes, I'm very honored to have you as a guest.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here, be the very first guest.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we both just finished movies. Well, I'm finishing a movie, but you finished your movie this summer.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's exciting. I'm glad to be here and talk about that.
Yeah, so tell me about Boxes.
So yeah, Boxes is my new feature film that I've been working on. This is the third year now. It is a surrealist. I've been describing it as a surrealist horror comedy drama.
Wow.
Touches a lot of bases,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of different genres. Kind of a multiverse story about. It feels so cheesy to talk about things like this. It's a story about the meaning of life, more or less, or
Yeah.
like my interpretation of that.
Yeah.
You know, something philosophical. It's meant to be more or less just like a statement.
Interesting.
Above all
Yeah.
else, you know.
So kind of like an existential, I guess, explanation. Not so much of a. I mean, there existential dread in there.
I would say
we
explanation is kind of a strong word for what I'm trying to do. I think I'm just, if anything, I'm just trying to pose questions that I think we should all be asking ourselves all the time. You know, thoughts that I think that we should probably try and be keeping in our heads as often as possible, just to kind of keep ourselves grounded and moving forward in the right ways.
some kind of some self introspection, I would say,
Absolutely,
or
absolutely.
introspection.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's kind of inevitable with filmmaking. You kind of can't help it to a degree.
Yeah.
You know, you write from your own id to begin with, so.
Of course.
Uh,
I mean, personally, I think good filmmaking is all a little biographical. I mean, when you're writing it, and I mean, even when you're directing, I think you put a little bit of yourself into it. I mean, if it's good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think everyone does that, but.
Yeah, you're right. I think that the people who really mean what they're doing do.
Yeah.
You know, and it always comes out in different forms. You know, like mine is. The main character, he looks just like me, acts just like me. What a coincidence.
It's not at all like my film.
Right, you have a stylistic thing going on, but it's still in a way it's clear. It clearly came out of your head. It clearly is a reflection on how you see the world.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, or maybe not how you see the world, but maybe how you fantasize about the world.
Right,
you know?
right.
And that's what filmmaking is, and that's what filmmaking does. That's what's wonderful about it.
So how would you say that Boxes, I mean, thematically or even even formally, like, you know, as far as like actually making the film, how would you say it compares or contrasts to other things you've worked on? Either your own, you know, written and directed pieces or things that you've produced and worked on.
It hasn't compared at all, honestly. I don't want to sound ungrateful, but it's been one of the most taxing filmmaking experiences of my life. Absolutely. It's been a labor of love. It's like I had said, it's been 3 years in the making now. Crew has switched hands, which was not an easy thing to
never
deal
is.
with.
Yeah.
You know, at the beginning of the project, I was working with very good friends that I'm now no longer working with, no longer on good terms with necessarily. So it's a different experience this time around because we just came back and for like a 4-day stretch in like heavy duty filming for the movie. You know, we had a crew of 5 people, and then we had all our actors, and we all just kind of like were pounding the pavement for 4 days making the movie, and it was awesome. That was like that 4 days was absolutely the best filmmaking experience I've ever had.
In your life?
In my life.
That's awesome.
And it was,
That's really cool.
Yeah, and I'm excited about it because the footage that we got looks great. The movie that, it's one of, you hear about these movies that have these switched hands. I'm glad that I've been a mainstay.
Yeah.
As a director, so it's probably best. But
Mm-hmm.
you hear about these movies that like switch hands. Something maybe like the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah.
Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, which is a great movie. I really love that movie.
I don't think I've sat through that one yet. Still.
Really?
Yeah, not in its entirety.
It's a Dennis Hopper masterpiece.
One day I will.
It's
One
great.
day.
You got to get that Dennis Hopper in you. It's a movie that the director was fired halfway through.
Yeah.
And they like switched hands, and then they had to like do all this like Frankenstein work to it, and it shows. So
it always does.
Yeah, and so that was like definitely one thing I'm concerned about, or was concerned about. Having to come back to it, but I think it all works out for the better.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go
Please.
ahead. I just from knowing you and knowing how you work and your vision, I think your vision's there. It's always going to be you, and it's always, I've already seen some of the things that you've done, and it's really good. So
thank you. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited for it to be finished. Kind of like if not even just for me, for all the people that have been involved so far. I'm extremely proud of the work that everybody's done. The lead actor Dave Collegio is someone who him and I have been working together. Like off the wall little tiny things here and there throughout the years, but never anything like heavy duty like this. And so this was, I took him out for lunch one day, and I was just like, hey, so I just wrote this movie, and do you want to be the lead? And he was like, sweet old Dave's like, sure. And I don't know if he necessarily knew what he was signing up for at the time, but it's, it's kind of like the Henry in Eraserhead. He's just got to keep wearing the same outfit for as long as I tell him to, and have the same haircut for as long as I feel bad for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the work that he's been doing on the movie is incredible. He's really, really come into his own as an actor, a screen actor. We worked with Dale Dobson, who's he's a sort of a local legend in the acting community. He's fantastic, and he gives a wonderful performance in the movie as this sort of evil doctor.
I think you showed me his scene.
Yeah, it's excellent, and I laugh my ass off every time I see it. And he absolutely gives a great performance. We actually just shot our first scenes with Wyatt, who you introduced me to, but have never met.
Yeah, I've never met him.
Why don't you tell the story behind that?
Yeah, I found Wyatt through Josie and Mike Steck, and Josie was in Murder Pool and Occasion of Sin, and I was kind of scouting around for David trying to find an actor, and they were like, you gotta call this Wyatt guy. And no, actually that's not what happened. He emailed me, and I put him in contact with David.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it worked out because him and I have hit it off to be great friends, and we just filmed.
That's awesome.
We just filmed his big scene. And we were doing like an Evil Dead kind of thing with him. So it was, a lot of those fun reaction shots where you're running at him with the camera.
Yeah.
And he's it was a lot of fun. And he again gives a great performance, very cinematic. He's got a serious presence, and it's going to be when this movie's finished, it's going to be a serious contender for the the indie community downriver. I'm excited for everyone to be able to see it.
Yeah, totally. I know everyone I found through Josie and Mike, they work with, I think, the Southgate community players.
Yeah.
And they do theater. And they're all just really very, very talented people.
Talented, good people.
Yeah.
That
and
care about what
yeah,
they're doing.
they do. They want to act.
That's what's important.
They want the experience. And they're good. Very talented.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's a long process, but I'm excited for everyone to see just the acting. I've been working with this new special effects person who's been my assistant director on shooting. His name's Matt Johnson. He's a filmmaker as well. Made some very entertaining little short films. He made this movie called he made a movie called Intelligent Life, and it is like a creep show-esque. Dude smokes some alien weed and then he turns into alien weed, and it's a cute little movie. But I noticed when I was watching the movie that a lot of the editing was similar to things that I was doing in boxes. So I reached out to him and went out and had lunch with him, and we talked about boxes a little bit, and then he agreed to come on and help out. And another person that's the top on board that's been adding things to the movie that are just like invaluable,
what kind of
the production levels.
What kind of effects does he do?
What he caught my eye about was his work with like lights and stuff like that. So he made aliens in the sky.
Okay.
And they looked cheesy, but they looked good.
Does he have a YouTube or anything? Or he's got this stuff? You should check that out.
I'll give it to you so you can link Matt. Matt Johnson.
We'll put the link.
Not Operation Avalanche. Matt Johnson. He's cool too, but this one's better. So he does like he was doing like light stuff and space stuff. He was mostly making aliens, so that's what him and I have been doing a lot. We did one scene where we like created the surface of the sun just practically.
Wow.
Just like with like lights and an orange and a macro lens.
That's cool.
And it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like it's for this great. We have this sequence because I mentioned the movie's sort of about like multiverse. I don't want to give too much away. It's one of those things that I don't want to explain too much.
Yeah, I think you just need to kind of experience it. Just from what I know about it.
But there's a lot of sequences where we're just sort of like wandering through space and just like seeing the universe and seeing all these different things, and we're doing it in all of these sort of non-traditional ways that I wouldn't say that they necessarily look realistic, but they look stylistic in a way that's eye-catching. And I think that for an indie film, that's better than the best you can get.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to do something, like you said, non-conventional, get people to notice.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of samey stuff out there.
Oh, absolutely.
So, are you done shooting?
Unfortunately, not entirely.
Okay.
We probably have about like 4 sequences left to film. In that 4-day stretch there, we were kind of crunched on time with certain locations, so we had to really cram a lot into certain days. And then we had to, we don't have time for this, so we got to cut it.
Yeah.
So there's like, it's still a little bit more. We're on track to have a finished film by October, and I was hoping to actually do what you did with Murder Pool and rent out Cinema Detroit.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was a great venue.
And they're super nice about and very accommodating to indie filmmakers.
They seemed like it. Yeah.
They love doing stuff like that. Yeah.
And then after that, I'll be submitting at the film festivals and doing the standard, like, oh, I hope somebody sees my movie,
right?
Thing. But it's it's just it's in God's hands, as they say. After that,
right. It's like you do the work and then you kind of try to push it out and see what happens. This is a full length, right?
Yep, this will be a feature length film. Right now, we probably have about like close to 3 hours of footage that we have to whittle down. I have a philosophy of like I don't ever want to see a David Villio film over 90 minutes long. It's just people have bladders, people have things to do. Yeah. So you're in the 90-minute movie camp. I am too, and there are exceptions. There's exceptions to every rule. I just watched a good movie that was over 2 hours, almost 3 hours. Downsizing with Matt Damon. Oh, okay. I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And I didn't notice how long it was. Now, granted, I was sitting at home. I think it was like a Sunday or Saturday afternoon.
Sure.
And,
that can happen.
I paused it to, use the bathroom or whatever. But if I was at the theater, I don't know if I'd be that thrilled about it.
I think that there's
But I mean, most of the time, I'm not even going to put a movie on if it's like...
Too long.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a deterrent. It absolutely is. Man, I'm a huge Batman fan, right? A huge Batman fan. Have been since I was a child.
Yeah.
Like, first memories. I was so upset looking at the runtime for that new Batman movie. It was 3 hours long.
Is that how long it is?
Batman. Now, granted, it's fantastic. Best Batmobile chase in a long time. But it's 3 hours long for a Batman movie.
Yeah. I kind of want to see that. I usually don't watch the superhero movies because, I don't know, I don't really like them that much.
That's fair. I feel like Batman is probably one of the only ones that I really go back to nowadays. I do struggle with a lot of the Marvel movies and a lot of the other comic book. I'll check in with some other DC movies every now and again. I guess not even really sure why, but yeah, just something about my DNA personally. I can't help but get excited at the thought of a new Batman movie.
I mean, I'm a huge Wonder Woman fan, and they just totally betrayed me on that. Wonder Woman 84 to the point where I was like,
I didn't see that one.
I don't think I like Wonder Woman anymore. And, I recently actually just went to the comic book store, picked up some comics that were really good. So I was like, no, I like Wonder Woman still. I don't like that shitty movie.
It happens like that. What did they Zack Snyder had his Justice League movie.
I didn't even watch that one. I think I might have watched the Wonder Woman part because I was like, I gotta see Wonder Woman.
The movie, in and of itself, was all right. It was. It's interesting to see this hyper violent interpretation of the comic books be like a canonical thing with the DC universe, but. Yeah, in that movie they got Batman murdering people. So I know what you're saying about not identifying with some of the modern day stuff. So I feel relieved as a Batman fan that they actually made a good movie with Robert Pattinson.
No, this is why I want to see it because everyone's saying that it's good, and a lot of people who have been pretty critical.
It does supersede the sort of your expectations. I think it's trying to do a lot more than your average comic book movie.
Yeah.
So I was a big fan of it.
We were just talking about putting that on yesterday, and then I was like, I don't know if I want to get into this now. But yeah, I eventually want to put it on.
One thing I was bummed that I didn't get to see was the Penguin doesn't do any kind of cinematic noise into the can. He doesn't do it very much Penguin stuff. Yeah. He's just kind of like a grumpy mobster.
I see.
And that's fine, but there's a missed opportunity, I feel like.
Yeah.
Batman Returns is probably my favorite Batman movie of all time.
That's a good one.
That's a classic.
I am a big fan, as you probably know, of the 60s show. That was what I grew up with.
Yes,
that was
I am too.
That was one of my first major obsessions as a child. Was that
too.
show. And I remember around that time when they did the TV network world premiere of the 60s movie, on Channel 4. That was the most exciting moment of my life. And it was right around that time they were and guess what? New movie with the guy who plays Beetlejuice, which just blew my mind,
right, Yeah.
So I mean that was just the biggest event I think of everyone's life who was a child at that point. I
wasn't even born yet. It was the biggest event of my life.
Yeah. And I just had everything. I had the lunchbox, the shirts, I had the posters in my room. I had this stupid one of Vicky Vale. So boring,
That's one of my favorite Batman scenes when he has the one night stand with Vicky Vale, and then she wakes up in the middle of the night and he's hanging like a bat.
Oh God, I blocked that part out of the movie. I was in
his free time he hangs upside down like a bat.
Embarrassing.
That's what I do in my free time too.
Jeez, yeah. I mean, we all do, right?
Sometimes you just gotta act like a bat.
I mean, I'm hanging out in a fucking dungeon, so I guess.
Tim Burton did give us some of our best Batman moments. Christopher Walken's skeleton in Batman Returns.
Yeah, Batman. So when I was growing up, I always liked the first Batman better, and I was like, no, that movie's good. I rewatched it recently, and I was like, "This isn't good." It's like
a hobbled together weird movie. It's got a million different voices chattering throughout it. It's got all these Who's that? The Knox character, who's like a Porky's character that found his way into a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what's this guy doing here?
And then it's kind of like the weird the Prince soundtrack is kind of just
so
out of
bizarre.
nowhere.
It's so bizarre, and I was thinking about that the other day actually because I was jamming out to "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal, and I was like wondering to myself, is because that is an extra weird Batman song. That's a song that was commissioned straight for a Batman movie.
Was it really? He wrote it for Batman.
It was written and commissioned straight for Batman Forever. And I was thinking to myself, like, is this Prince's fault? Like, is it because, like, Prince was...
I think that was Prince.
That was Prince. He's mad.
You shouldn't have said that about him.
I'm not saying anything wrong. I love Kiss from a Rose, and I have that whole soundtrack. I listen to it all the time. It's very good. Vicky's Waiting is a great track.
Yeah, So that brings me, I guess, to my next question for you. What's next after Boxes for David Villio?
I'm stepping away from the filmmaking thing for just a little bit to kind of regather my bearings, and I'm going to help out other people for the most part for a little while.
Taking kind of a producer role, would you say?
Yeah. I've been doing the director thing for a minute, and it's fun, but it's like I said, it's stressful.
It really is.
Yeah,
very stressful.
I have this very strong belief that the filmmaking community, the indie filmmaking community, can be very strong if it's unified. If we all know each other, if we're all working with each other in the best of ways that we can and elevating each other's stuff, then there's really nothing to stop the independent film community from being just as viable as the actual.
Of course, especially in this community. There's a lot of us people around here with very unique, singular visions and, who are unique. I just said unique. But yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And working on Boxes, meeting as many people as I have has done nothing but prove that to me.
Yeah.
So I guess right now the one thing I do have on the boilerplate that I'll be producing is from a friend of mine, John Karpus, is film Roach Killer.
Okay.
If anybody's unfamiliar, John Karpus is one of the founding members of the mysterious film cabal of Detroit, and he made his film. I always mess this up. It's the Son of Dracula versus the Psychedelic Hercules.
I was like, okay, I know this is a long title with the word psychedelic in there.
And John, I'm sorry if I messed that up. It's like, I love your movie. I do. I love your movie. So he's had this idea that he's been sitting on for, I guess, years about this movie called Roach Killer, and he pitched it to me a little while ago. And it was, the idea just absolutely blew my hair back. I think that if we're able to get enough traction, it could be the biggest cinematic event to hit Detroit possibly ever, and that's something very exciting.
Yeah.
I think, like something that we can all be a part of, all be excited about, and like, I don't know, something you can practically see from space.
So where are you guys on production of that?
Very, very early script writing right now, because this was an idea he was sitting on alone for a long time, and then I rolled along and with a lot of enthusiasm and was like, all right, let's get this ripping. And so I started coming up with new ideas for him that he was liking. So now we're kind of like going back and forth and sort of reworking the script with different things. We're doing some like puppet stuff, some animation stuff.
That's cool.
There's gonna be like sequences with talking roaches.
Are those gonna be puppets?
Probably it's gonna be like a puppet. It's gonna be like a puppet cartoon, like a sort of like a South Park thing. I will. Yeah, it's kind of tough to explain, but it's it's something that we're working on. Yeah, and so Roach Killer is the next big thing. I've been talking to a lot of people about collaborating, so I'm sure that my name is going to be popping up left and right here any old time now.
Are you gonna get into acting?
If somebody asks,
yeah,
I won't pursue it like on my own. But if somebody wants me to act in a thing, sure, why not? I'll act in a thing. I kind of act.
Do you like acting?
Sorry.
No, not really.
I feel weird looking at myself.
Yeah.
I have like a very, very, very small role in boxes, no lines. I just in the script it's Brian the Burnout, and I just like I walk outside of a bar and just like try smoking a cigarette, but can't because I'm coughing too much. And that's about what I'm comfortable with.
That makes sense. I feel you on that.
I was a co-lead on my first movie, The Red Dream.
Yeah.
And that was a weird situation. I hope to never have to be co-lead in my own movie again.
Why is that?
It's too hard. There's too many hats.
Yeah.
And it's I'm also weird about attention. I don't want like part of the reason I want to be the director is because nobody knows who the director is. I can still walk into Kroger.
Yeah.
And not gonna get mobbed by anybody unless I'm like Steven Spielberg.
Right.
Like, what are the freaking odds, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a good chance of being able to still like live my daily life and still get to make sweet movies.
Yeah.
Just, like stay behind.
And the people who recognize you are just going to be super cool,
right?
Because they're just going to be huge film buffs.
It's not gonna be like Jim Carrey walking in somewhere where he like can't move.
He can't.
That's petrifying. That's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if as much as I really, really want fame, I don't know like how much fame I'd want.
I'm too grumpy.
Yeah.
I'm too grumpy to begin with. I don't like talking to people on a regular occasion, let alone like a person that presumes to know me before they are like speaking to me.
Yeah, that's rough. People do act super familiar with celebrities and people, the public personas that they think that they know because they see what they want them to see, so they think they see everything. Yeah, it's creepy.
So it's like a fine line that you tread here. I guess I'm happy to be in indie film land.
Yeah.
Because like if I think about like 25 people are gonna see boxes.
Don't sell yourself short. You never know.
No, I know. I know. But yeah. Yeah, I guess that's my last point on the matter is that fame would suck.
Well, I guess kind of shifting a little bit. What are some of your some of your major inspirations or influences when you're writing or even directing?
I was just actually having a conversation today with another filmmaker friend of mine, Sarah Felicity Root. She just like randomly asked me if Kevin Smith had anything to do with my influence, and I was thinking about that in a sort of a roundabout way, and I think I think absolutely someone like Kevin Smith probably has a big roundabout influence on something. Like I think about how we all do it, like you and me, maybe not directly but subconsciously. There's got to be a part of at least my brain every time I'm on a set where I'm thinking about Clerks and I'm thinking about the sort of like the ingenuity behind a film like that and how you can make something so small seem so big. So like the standard indie films, the ones that were the trailblazers that paved the way for us to live, like they literally taught us how to do what we're doing. I kept those in tight reference a lot as far as like story and as far as like boxes in and of itself. It's largely inspired by like Monty Python, actually.
Okay.
I was watching the episode with the Ministry of Silly Walks one day when I was writing, and I loved the format of how they would structure an episode with like these skits that sort of like wove into each other and they told a story.
Yeah.
But like you find out through this like bizarre twist, and there's something so brilliant about it. And I loved it. So I was like, how can I like take that and move that into just like a multi-genre movie? It's not like there's comedic elements. There's like a segment of the movie that's this sort of just like bonkers Looney Tunes like cartoonish thing, and then there's like it switches over to this very intense horror ghost story. But then like it's in betweens. There's sort of like this ominous, eerie, otherworldly vibe. So like I'd be looking at movies like say like Donnie Darko, right? Like for how they sort of like shoot Jake Gyllenhaal in that movie is something I tried to kind of like keep in mind when I was shooting Dave, or I often say episodes of Beavis and Butthead on set, particularly the episode Choking.
Mm-hmm.
That's an episode that had a.
I'm just laughing thinking about that. That's
a
a really funny episode.
It's a very good episode, yeah.
Was that you play that on set to like get actors in that like kind of
to get them into the sort of the right goofy mood. It depends, but it all depends on the day, because it's like one day we're doing our horror stuff, so it's like, all right, I'll have Evil Dead on the TV, because the scenes that we were shooting were very Raimi-esque, I guess you could say. We were like I said, we were doing like the camera, all this kind of stuff, reaction shots, and that was another movie that I kept kind of close to the chest, was Evil Dead. I think primarily because it's like almost unavoidable. Yeah. And especially as like a Michigan filmmaker. Yeah. You kind of can't help it. No. It's like every time you get behind the camera, you're like, all right, what would Raimi do? Yeah.
We're just following in his footsteps.
Right. Yeah. He's the one who really paved the way for what we're doing. So that every day I tried to make it have like a different vibe. I think the first day I actually put on Mulholland Drive as everyone was walking in. Here's the surreal vibe, everybody.
Yeah.
It's a million movies. It's tough to say like any one, because there isn't any one. I hope that my movie ends up being influential to other people's movies, because it's like my philosophy is to sort of stand on the shoulders of people who have done this before me, so I can stand higher, create greater. And so that's really all I was trying to do, is like pick up where the people I looked up to left off. Yeah. As best I can.
And that's like a compliment to them too. I think so.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you see your idols as more your colleagues, then things get easy.
Yeah, because they just started out like you. Like, I really relate to kind of looking towards Kevin Smith. Yeah. Especially with Clerks, it's like the legend of him just maxing out his credit cards.
Yeah, even if your movie isn't thematically like that, you're still like that story, him maxing out his credit, that's in your head.
And it's like he worked his day job or night, whatever you want to call it, at that place, and then it was like every
he's moment. He's one of those stories that's like ringing in the back of your head that like kind of keeps you going. And so thanks, Kevin Smith.
Yes.
I may not have liked Cop Out. Red State ruled.
I didn't like Cop Out either. Loved Tusk.
Tusk was
Loved that
sweet.
one.
Do more Tusk. I didn't see Yoga Hosers.
I didn't see that one either.
Did he end up doing Moose Jaws?
Which one?
Moose Jaws.
I don't know. I don't think so.
We talked about that one. I think he's directing Clerks 3
right now. They I know they've talked about Mallrats 2, Clerks 3.
I had a wonderful Shrooms experience watching Mallrats.
Did you?
Oh man, that movie is a religious experience.
I just rewatched Mallrats and I did not think it held up.
Really?
So now I have to say sorry, Kevin Smith. But I was like, this movie's a little
probably
mean. I don't know. I mean, it when I was a teen and like I wanted to be. Well, I take that back. When I was a preteen and like I wanted to be a teen, I thought that everyone in Mallrats was so cool, and I was like, I'm at the mall all the time, and then I worked at the mall, and I just thought I lived that movie, and it was very, very important to me for a long time. Yeah. And I decided to just put it on because I was working the other day, and I was like,
it'll happen to you sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. But Kevin Smith's a really good guy, and he's got a really big heart.
He really is.
I think he just, honestly, I think he's probably grown up since he's written that movie.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's honestly kind of one of the big problems. He's grown up and he's worked on the studio system for so long. Yeah. I think it's got to be tougher to go back and do like this.
Yeah.
When you've been doing it on a different plane for so long.
Yeah.
It's probably like unthinkable, because like I think back, like nowadays, like I couldn't dream of making like my first film project was a show called Room for Rent. I couldn't dream of going back and working on that crew with like how we did it. It was just too amateur.
Yeah, yeah.
We just didn't know what we were doing. We still made a thing.
It was your learning process.
Right,
yeah,
exactly. But it was just like every time you do it and every time you make something, you get a whole new set of tools that you carry on to the next thing. Right? And to try and, it's pointless to even try and work backwards.
Yeah. Totally. Did you see the Jay and Silent Bob reboot?
Yeah, I did.
Did you dig that?
It was good.
Yeah.
I liked it. I laughed. I think it's I think I have a soft spot for Kevin Smith, and that's why I really enjoyed it.
I think I'm the same. I thought it was cute.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's no Citizen Kane or anything.
Right.
I wasn't trying to be. It's Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
It made me laugh. It was. I think it came out during the lockdown, so it was kind of like a nice little.
It was one of those movies that I feel like people were unjustly hard on.
I think so too, and it came out very around the same time anyway as the Bill and Ted.
That's actually what I was just gonna bring
up.
And
I did not like that one.
Oh, good. We're gonna have it on the air. All right. I liked it.
You loved it?
I thought it was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I thought that they did for what they were doing. I think that's like the best case scenario for a new Bill and Ted movie.
I would really like to give it another watch because again, that's when we watched during the lockdown.
Yeah,
and
it came out during lockdown.
Yeah, and we paid the exorbitant amount of money that they charged for that movie, and to my chagrin, I did not really feel like it was going to be worth it, and it wasn't. So I would kind of want to watch it.
I'm not saying that it's anything perfect, and I know that we have this sort of idealized version of Bill and Ted.
I mean, the first two aren't that real. I mean, they're just.
I really enjoy them.
I do too. I like Bogus Journey, I think, a little better.
Yeah, I go back and forth. It really just depends on the day. They both offer such unique.
They really
things.
do.
It just depends on what mood I'm in. But you got this third movie, and everyone's older. You got to keep so many things in mind when you're watching it. It's just like this is not entirely the same group of people that are doing it. You got the core people. You got your writers, who I'm not sure if you knew this or not, but one of the writers of Bill and Ted is the son of Richard Matheson.
Oh, I don't think I knew that. No.
Yeah, the author of I Am Legend and Terror at 30,000 Feet. Yeah. Co-wrote Bill and Ted.
Well, apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right?
But he was still involved, and you got Keanu and Bill. Bill Winters.
Alex Winter. Yeah.
You got them both back, and they're both doing a great job.
Yeah, they did.
The music was fun, and that's what the kids are listening to nowadays.
Yeah.
As much as we don't like it, as much as we want them to be listening to the hair metal.
Yeah, we can't.
This Billie Eilish stuff, beats and made in a computer.
What are you gonna do? If you once you start complaining about it, you just look like a dinosaur, right?
Yeah. Finally, the old man yells at cloud.
Yeah. I miss George Carlin, and that's something you can't.
Yeah, that's one thing it definitely
control at all.
But I think that's something we could say about every movie.
But Kristen Shaw was good.
Yeah.
Is that what her name is?
Yeah, Kristen Shaw.
Yeah. I like her. She's funny.
Yeah, she is. They did the best with what they have.
Yeah, they did.
If there must be a third Bill and Ted movie, I'm glad it doesn't suck.
Yeah.
Because really, guys, we could have it so much worse. Platinum Dunes could have remade Bill and Ted. Michael Bay.
Oh.
He's out there remaking shit.
You think he'd go for Bill and Ted?
No, but I mean it could have been worse, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I honestly think my thing was that we paid the I don't know what it was. I feel like it was $30.
It was pricey to buy it.
And it was one of those desperate lockdown moments where you're we don't do anything else. It's sad and uncertain. Bill and Ted. I need Bill and Ted right now, you know.
Felt like I got shot in the stomach when I couldn't go to the movie theater anymore.
Oh God, I know.
What was your first experience going back to the theater?
I had an amazing experience going back to the theater. I went to Las Vegas, Nevada. My hood's being blown off because you asked me this question here. I went to Las Vegas, Nevada to go to Psycho Vegas to see Danzig perform Lucifuge in its entirety. And he did a Q&A the night before for his movie Death Rider.
Okay.
So I saw Death Rider in the theater. He came out and did a Q&A. It was a really funny experience because I was right in the front. I sat right in the front, and they had like ottomans and like a couch in the front. I was just like, I bought the front row seat, which was 2, just because I wanted to be in the front. So I was just like lounging there, taking up the 2 seats. And he came up and he was like, I feel like I'm in someone's living room. And I was like, because I'm just laying here. Okay. But yeah, so that was my first experience back in the theater.
Yeah.
Seeing Glenn Danzig's Death Rider.
And so how did it feel?
I mean, it was kind of odd because I was out of state and he was there doing the Q&A. So it was a little like...
Was it like an actual like movie theater?
Yeah.
Or? Okay.
Yeah. It was like some mall movie theater in like a suburb of Vegas. So that was kind of like overshadowing that, like, wow, I haven't been in a theater since, shoot, I don't even remember. Like,
right, sure.
Because it definitely was before March of 2020. It was probably like a couple of months before. It was probably sometime in 2019. I think we went into the Senate and saw Invisible Man. That might have been like one of the last ones we saw at the theater.
Yeah, at least you went out at the Senate.
Or maybe it was the Jimmy Stewart one at the Senate. It was probably at the Senate though. But so yeah, that was like a weird experience. And then when I came home, it opened in Detroit or nationwide, and we went and saw it at Imagine, and it was in Royal Oak. And I'm sorry, I don't know if it's any different there now, but it was a dump there.
At the Imagine Royal Oak?
Oh yeah.
I went back. I went there. Oh shoot. January. It wasn't so bad.
It was, maybe it was just they didn't have a lot of people working there, but it was really dirty, really messy. I'm pretty sure there was a man living in the theater that we were watching the movie in.
Oh boy. Well, the main art is closed. They got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Open it back up, Royal Oak. This isn't.
Oh
funny
boy,
anymore.
it's really sad, and
sad.
you know it's I kind of haven't even been like looking at it because I feel like it's a lost cause, and I hate that I'm so negative about it that I'm like, well, no point in fighting it. Royal Oak's just slowly turning into Royal Joke. I mean, it has been for 20 years now. It used to be so different when I was a teenager, and you go and you see all the people with their mohawks, and there was a bunch of cool stores, and
I know what you mean. It does feel like a lost cause, but it's tough to sit there and watch.
It is.
I've got a lot of really great memories.
Oh God,
I feel like we all do.
The first time I went out of my house to actually see independent art films, it was at the Main Art.
Yeah.
There was a long time
My first
before.
indie film, like in a theater, was at the Main Art.
Which movie was it?
It was a film called Grizzly Bear.
Okay.
I can't remember.
I never heard of this.
I don't know. I can't remember who directed it. A friend of mine invited me to it. It is the tale of a young hunter fellow who is hunting one day, and the mood strikes him to masturbate, so he does while he's on the tree stand, and his jizz goes into a bear that was laying on the ground like this.
This is such a like indie film.
Oh yeah. Oh,
like synopsis.
Hard indie. And then and then she gives birth to the Grizzly Bear.
I'm really surprised I've never heard of
goes
this.
Around town murdering people, and it's super weird, and it was a lot of fun. There was a guy in front of me in the seat in front of me that kept like taking a flask of Jack Daniels and then like burping. There was like a draft that like kind of hit just the right way, so every time you would burp, it would just kind of like
get that.
So like I've got this sort of like putrid memory associated with like a terrible smell of this movie where just like somebody's having like projectile diarrhea at a wall, and it's like whiskey burps. and that's really what you want your first indie film experience.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a great experience at the theater.
It's like 4D.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Smell-o-vision. It wasn't really intended, but you got it. I can't even remember the first movie I saw at the Main Art. Shoot. I cannot remember.
I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. They had people protesting the movie's release.
That's awesome.
They like came into the theater and started getting inappropriate with the audience. It was a crazy.
What year was this, if you don't mind me asking?
Boy, this would have been 2014, 15.
Okay.
Yeah. Right around my room for rent days. So 2014, 2015. I'm
trying to think.
I'll try and hunt this movie down because I know my friend knows more about it than I do.
I wish I could remember the first movie I saw there. I don't. It might have been, and I could be wrong, but it might have been Kurt and Courtney.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's like a good one.
Yeah, and my mom took me and my friend to see it, Nikki, if she's watching. And after the movie, my mom was like, "We should go ask if we can get the poster." And I was like, "Don't ask." She was like, "No, they got these extra posters." She got us both the posters. I still have it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're all gonna miss the main art. The thing about it is, like, Royal Oak, they want to be this sort of like this hipster town, this nice bougie area, and what they're not realizing is that that's not what they're doing. That's not what they're creating by getting rid of things like the main art and allowing your movie theater to be something like a conglomerate corporation. Like imagine what's happening is that you're forcing out the independent artists. You're forcing out the voices that made that community so strong in the first place.
You're right.
And so I don't there will be no longevity with this. This is only going to flat tire Royal Oak in the end because you're not doing this in good faith. You're doing this because of money. I mean, for God's sakes, Imagine park themselves right behind the main art.
I know.
If that is not bad business, I don't know what it is.
It like looks ugly over there too, just from like just a aesthetics perspective. It just looks ugly.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here saying that like all these multiplexes are like bad and we all should just go to like the movie house. I'm not saying that multiplexes are fine.
Of course, yeah.
But don't push out the independent art house cinema.
I know. It's a bummer.
We still need our place to go.
We do.
And I'm tired. Like I prefer a place like the Main Art, or I prefer the Redford or the Senate. Mm-hmm. I prefer a place like that.
I do too.
To a multiplex. I don't want to sit in those big luxury reclining seats. I don't want to sit there and watch the M&M.
I know, with your like chicken tenders.
Yeah, that's not what.
And your big beer.
And then you gotta watch the first run movies, and all these filmmakers are making these like 3-4 hour movies. I'm like, God, you're killing us here.
I always feel too like they make them that long to justify the price of the ticket, because they're like up to $20
like
now.
This thing that like filmmakers and studios are working in tandem, just like ruin the industry.
I agree.
Ruin everything that makes it good in the first place. And at Royal Oak, that's why you need to keep the Main Art, and that's why you need to come back to having your midnight movies. You need this. We're gonna move to Redford next.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very grateful that we have the Redford. I'm grateful we have the Senate. I'm grateful we have Cinema Detroit.
Cinema Detroit is awesome. Is the Film Lab back up and running yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
But when they get up and running, it's awesome to have Film Lab. Mm-hmm. Would be nice to have a place in the suburbs, though. Like with, anywhere, in any of the suburbs, because,
I know what you mean.
Like how, not Maple Art, Main Art. Is Maple Art even still there? I don't even remember.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah,
I know what you mean. They're not. I grew up in Allen Park, and we had like our dollar show, which was like second run movies.
Yeah,
and that was like our local theater, and that's another one that I have like countless memories with. But that theater's closed down, and the city's looking at demolishing it. Unfortunately, it doesn't have anywhere near the same kind of like attention. Like it doesn't.
Of course.
Save the Allen Park Theater or anything like that, but. It's happening all over the place.
It is. It happened here in St. Clair Shores. We had the Shores Theater. That's the first movie-going experience I remember is in that theater seeing Beetlejuice.
Really? Mine
in
was
the
at
theater.
Tom Park seeing Batman Forever.
And I mean, I think I've seen other movies there, but that was my first experience, and it was closed for years and years and years, and there's a contract on it where it cannot be open as a theater anymore. And so someone bought it, they renovated it, and I think now they're going to turn it into like a music venue, bar type thing. They were planning on doing that before the pandemic.
That's fine that exists, But don't we have enough music venues?
You know,
guys?
St. Clair Shores does not need another bar, okay?
Can we have some movie venues? There are people making things for the film.
It's a really cute place. I think there's 2 movie theaters in there. There's 2, right? 2. Yeah. And I think it was originally a first run, and then it was a second run, and then it was a first run again. I think it went back and forth throughout the years, but I mean, it's really sad that they don't, that once it was always my dream to like buy it.
Yeah,
and open it up
also, like,
and
me,
be
I've got like schematics in my desk at home. I'm like, what I would do with the Allen Park Theater.
It's like, you know, being a filmmaker has always been my major ambition, but like my like big dream is to just like own a movie theater one day.
I think that comes with being a filmmaker.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like, because that's for me personally. I'm actually one of the reasons I'm taking a break from filmmaking is because my next endeavor is I'm gonna try and open a drive-in.
Oh, that's awesome.
A little bit south, like kind of between like Detroit and Monroe, because you got a Monroe drive-in and then you got the Fort Wyoming, and I think that is room to grow.
Our generation does not have enough drive-in
That's what I'm talking
experiences.
About. If I open up something 2 screens,
yeah,
you know, that could be a fun time, I think.
Yeah. Do first run and then like
proprietary.
You would just do a proprietary thing, just or not? Is that the word I'm looking for? Or program? I forgot what word
I'd show up classic flicks.
Yeah.
You know.
Curated by you.
Me or whoever I'm doing.
Yeah.
Whoever I'm doing with. God knows I couldn't do something like that alone.
No, that's a huge undertaking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So like, whatever crew assembles that endeavor, we'll all be able to contribute our what we see in the theater or in the drive-in.
Yeah, and I'm sure the community will kind of dictate it too.
Absolutely.
What they want to see.
And because we'll be in tune with that too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we need more of that, especially because main art's gonna be kaput. I mean,
it's like, I think what it is that we need more spaces where what film is fundamentally understood by everybody in the room.
Yeah.
And I think that that's one of the big problems that we have today, is that a lot of people will walk into a theater and not know exactly what they're looking at. I was actually just watching a YouTube video on Avatar, James Cameron's Avatar.
Okay.
And about how James Cameron made that movie to be very, very specifically viewed in the theater. It's only very good if you see it in the theater under very special circumstances with 3D, the way it was designed to be shot, right?
Yeah.
And so now you cut 2 years later and they got Avatar playing on like TNT, right? And it's like, why? Like that's it's you're just watching a boring movie with like a dull script at that point.
Yeah.
You know, like there are other elements, and I think that if there's more spaces that understand that, you know, then and help to inform and educate the people that are coming in as to what they're about to be seeing and like why and what the purposes of it are going to be, then I think we can dig ourselves out of the entertainment hole that we found ourselves in.
Yeah.
You know.
What do you think about, like, I've seen, I don't know if this is like other areas in the country, but I've noticed in this area anyway, in Detroit, there's a lot of bars that will do movie nights.
I've seen a few of them here and there. I think that's a really cool idea. Yeah. I'd like to see a lot more of it. Because it's like, I feel like it's one of those things, it's like a niche thing. Like, I think that, like, for the time being, the indie film community is very, like, tight-knit and very, like, it's hard to, I don't know, I feel like it's easier for a lot of the music scene to get noticed than it is for, like, us filmmakers.
I think so, too. Anyone can book a show.
Right, yeah. And you sort of get, like, funny looks when you say, like, oh, we got a movie playing at a bar, you know? So I think that if there were more of that and people were used to it, I think it would be actually like a fantastic way to actually premiere things. Because that was actually one of my original plans with Boxes, was to screen it at like a bar with the original cast and crew, because, you know, you get rowdy in a bar.
Yeah.
like think about the excitement that comes with watching a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like you want to like clap and cheer, but you don't want to necessarily do that in a theater.
We did a showing of Vampa's Visions at PJ's Lager House with a couple bands, and that was a very different experience than playing it at the theater. It was fun. It was fun. It was different.
Did you get a lot of reactions?
I did get reactions. It was nice, but I did notice that as the filmmaker watching from the back, it was a little stressful because you're at a bar. People are going back and forth, and they're going to the bathroom, and they're going to get their beer, and they're doing this, they're doing that, and I'm like, you're supposed to be watching my movie. Do you hate it? And it's like, they're just at the bar.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there were more people than not who were like, I'm gonna sit here and watch this movie, and they sat down or they stood there and they had their drink and they're ready to go. But yeah, it was different. I
think it has to be dependent on the movie.
Yeah.
To be played at a bar, because I think it has to be like sort of like a party movie, something that's like okay to kind of like turn your head away from every now and again.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's like I said, I think for like first time premieres when it's with like cast and crew, and everyone knows what they're watching and they can just kind of like bullshit and whatever, and like, oh hey, watch it, we'll check this part out.
Yeah.
Like that's like the perfect setting, or like a movie that everyone loves, like the bar showing Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Like something like that.
A cult one, or
classics,
ones everyone's,
or like, honestly, what I would love to see is for some of the indie movies that I already know. I'd love for like John's movie, Psychedelic Dracula. I'd love for that to be like more popular than it is, and then like people are excited because they're playing that at the bar. Like same with Murder Pool or with like the Red Dream even. I would love to see all of our films like have a life that exists.
Yeah.
And I think that having them play in bars would be our best kind of way to do that.
It would be cool if there were more festivals that were geared towards actually playing movies and not making you pay a submission fee and then not picking your movie. Because I found that you look at these film festivals, and personally, I get pretty rejected when my movie doesn't get picked, and then I think about it, and it's like, how many people submitted to this film festival, and how many are they realistically gonna show? It's like, I submitted to one that was like, we're gonna play 10 shorts, and it's like, okay, and it's free to submit, and this one's free to submit, so it's like there's no loss for me, so I don't care. I mean, the only thing I'm going to lose is a little bit of confidence that I don't get picked. Now, if it's like $60 or so, I'm kind of like,
I mean, yeah.
Well, have fun with my $60.
Yeah. Yeah. It's when I ran Semfest for the couple of years, we got the hundreds. I think it was like 900 movies the first year that we had.
Wow.
We had to just sit and watch 900 movies.
And did you watch them all?
Mm-hmm.
Good on you for that, because I don't think a lot of them do.
Hard.
Yeah.
And you really learn a lot about indie film, let me tell you.
Oh, I bet.
And then like year 2 is like, I think we were close to 2,000 movies. We didn't end up watching all of those, but we did have like, how we would do it, we would set up like shifts. So we'd like sit for like 5 hours and just like watch.
Yeah.
And it was fun, but also just like,
yeah. So, I mean, it makes sense as to why they want to charge money.
Oh, yeah.
Because
you're at a job.
Yeah.
If you're a festival judge and you were watching just like all of this crap.
And it probably limits how many. I mean, some of them are so big it probably doesn't.
Yeah.
But
I can imagine, because I bet that's like Sundance's.
Yeah.
That's their big reason, is because they don't want to have to sit there and watch, because that's everybody, like that's the film festival that everybody knows off the top of their head. Like every like first time filmmakers like Sundance Film Festival. So like that, they probably get 5 shit-zillion submissions every year.
Yeah.
And that must be like, I've like looked into their judging process. They have like they have a crazy number of judges, so like they've got a system worked out, but it has got to be like me doing Semfest, which was like a nothing festival that is at the Sanctuary. Like I think 60 people attended. Like that was nuts.
That's a lot of people though. 60 people.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it was anything.
Yeah,
it was definitely a successful endeavor. We did it for 2 years. I'd like to eventually return back to doing film.
I was just going to ask you if you think you'll do that again.
I'd like to eventually. gotta find myself in a little bit of a different position.
Oh man, especially if you do the drive-in, that'd be really freaking sweet.
Yeah, you see, that's where my mind is at. It's like a couple of years, like a drive-in film festival would be pretty.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, we're showing like indie films.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That would be really fun.
Yeah, that's the hopeful future.
So where can we see your work other than that you've already done? Where can we see Red Dream or anything
I am
else?
actually about to be posting the Red Dream on YouTube. So you can follow my YouTube channel. Right now it's called Sundown Pictures, but it is about to be changed to Electric Cinema House, which is my new company.
Okay.
And yeah, look for Electric Cinema House on YouTube, and that is my company. You can see some things I've done. If you scroll down to the bottom, you can see our friends' channels, and you'll be able to find Room for Rent. These are all terrible, but they're fun. Get drunk, watch them. I'm probably going to be having a trailer for Boxes posted by the end of the month. I've already started working on one with the new footage. And I'm hoping to have that ready by October. I don't know what that'll look like as far as viewing goes. Maybe I'll come back on the show and talk about when the premiere.
Of course,
will be.
Yeah. We'd love to have you back.
But yeah.
So October, you think is when Boxes is gonna be?
That's what I'm shooting for, and everything is looking shipshape for that. I talked a lot of crap last year about a release date, and things didn't exactly work out.
That happens when you're doing this indie stuff, and it's it's all on a shoestring budget. It's all on your free time. It's your hobby, so it never works out like you think it's going to.
I'm feeling very confident that we're gonna have a cool movie, come October. Starring a lot of really cool people. I'm excited for the world to see Wyatt Woodside and Dave Collegio and Jenna Marcy and all of these people that were in the movie that are awesome, that I couldn't have done it without, and have made some of the images that are floating in the back of my mind into a reality, which
isn't
I'm
that
sure
great?
you can relate to, being an just crazy thing.
That's like my favorite part of making a movie is the actual shooting.
Yeah, when
you're seeing it done, you're just like, whoa.
Oh man, I've been thinking about that for years.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll make that one of my end questions for you. What's your favorite part of the process of filmmaking?
It's got to be being on set.
Yeah.
The go of it. I live for the rush of it.
Me too.
I think that's like a new answer for me, because it wasn't always that way. I think working with the crew that I did with Boxes, it was nothing but fun. It was nothing but getting things done. It was, we were all at the top of our games, and I can't wait to do it again. Honestly. Yeah. I'm looking at, I'm editing right now, and I'm just sitting here just like, at the thought of editing. And I just can't wait to get back to...
Editing is so tedious.
It's the worst. And my computer's RAM is so if I clip a clip or something, it takes 7 minutes to render.
Oh my God.
Just gotta sit there for it.
Yeah. I gave myself trauma from editing occasion to sin.
Oh, that'll happen. Yeah. I know what you mean, though. I know entirely what you mean. There's a scene in Boxes I probably spent 2 months editing last year after we finished our bits of filming. I spent 2 months editing this thing. I couldn't get it right. I kept trying and trying. And I eventually just cut it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't working.
Yeah, that happens
and that's
too.
That's how it happens. That's what.
At least you try, know, and you can always keep your idea on the back burner and reimagine it for another project and at another time. It's the great thing about ideas,
Yeah.
So look out in October for Boxes. And don't forget to follow Sundown Pictures, soon to be Electric House Cinema.
Electric Cinema House.
I'm sorry. Electric Cinema House. Do you have any other social media that you...
You can follow me on Instagram. I post there at David's Ghost. You can probably post that on the...
Yeah, I totally will.
Other than that, no, I don't do Twitter. Oh, get my Letterboxd. Get my hot movie reviews. You got a Letterboxd account?
I do, but I never ever
Gotta get
go
on
to
that.
it. I used to,
Follow
and then
your
I just
friends,
kind of
hear
was
their
like,
opinions. So I follow Sean Collins, who's one of my coworkers. I follow him on there, and he just liked a movie called Foes.
mm-hmm,
And it was this movie made in 1977
mm-hmm.
about UFOs terrorizing a small family that's taking care of a lighthouse.
Weird.
And it's all done with this crazy green screen and all these like pirates.
From the 70s?
From 77. This movie never had
Yikes.
a VHS or DVD release.
I bet.
It only got a Blu-ray release like 5 years ago.
Was it a theatrical release or
Yeah.
made for
It was
TV
made
or
for
straight?
TV.
Oh,
It's
boy.
called Foes.
Foes.
It's awesome. There's allegedly a director's cut that's better, which Sean was telling me about. So if you get a hold of the Blu-ray, I guess watch the director's cut. I spaced on that until like 15 minutes before the movie ended, and I was like, oh yeah, I heard about the director's cut.
So where can you see Foes?
It's on Blu-ray, but you can also find it on Amazon. Check it out on Amazon. If you
Yeah.
want that. Or buy the Blu-ray from Garage House Pictures. They're a small indie label. They could use your support. Probably like $15 for a Blu-ray. You can afford that. I can't, but you can.
Well, thanks to my guest, David Villio, and thank you to you for joining us on our series premiere of Babble-On with Vampa. I hope to see you again next time.